Good day, everyone. In this video, we are going to continue the discussion on the tongue inspection. In terms of the coating, previously in the last video, we have introduced the thin and thick coating, and from this video, we're going to introduce the dry and moist coating. The dry and moist coating mostly can indicate the body fluids in the body. A moist coating is in between dry and solid, and slippery coating is wet and watery. A dry coating has no fluid. A rough coating feels coarse and extremely dry and rough. So here just different from here. The first two, a moist coating and a slippery coating, are all in the category of moist coating. A dry coating, a rough coating, is in the category of dry coating. This image is an example of dry coating. The dry coating is very obvious that the patient do not have enough body fluids in the body. That's the dry coating. So for the dry and moist coating, you can reflect the body fluids. In these three images, the first one is moist, so that's a healthy tongue, flexible, moist, light red and thin white coating. The second image is slippery coating. Slippery coating, you can see kinds of fluids or watery on top of the tongue. So compare with this one, the first and the second image, you got more water on top. And when you compare with the dry coating, it becomes more obvious, the slippery coating and the dry coating. So you can see the dry coating, it looks like there's no water at all on top of the tongue. So that's the dry coating. The dry coating can indicate that the pathogen already affects the body fluids, or it can already affects the organs, especially for the thick dry coating such as this one. Thick coating and dry can indicate the organs has already been affected. This image also a dry coating, but when you compare with this and the third image in the previous slides, they are different. The reason is the tongue color different, the coating color is different. So a dry coating indicates great damage of the body fluid. Mostly it indicates the body fluid. A rough coating is also the body fluid, just in different way to describe how severe the body fluid has been damaged. Greasy or coated coating. Greasy coating is sticky on the surface of the tongue and cannot be scraped away. So this is an example of greasy coating. Greasy coating, you can see the coating, you can see some water, and you can see the tongue is shining. So that's a kind of greasy coating. Turbid greasy coating is sticky and dirty. So this just another way to describe it as a more severe greasy coating. As you can see here, the more we discuss, the more we integrate the previous information. Dry greasy coating and sticky greasy coating. Dry, greasy without fluid. So it can be greasy, but also can be dry. But no matter it's dry or moist or watery, it must be shining or thick. then it can be considered as greasy coating. What's important here, the greasy coating and coated coating. All the greasy coating we mentioned here, no matter how thick they are, the coating are sticky and difficult to be scraped away. So the coating stay there. A coated coating. Here's another image of greasy coating. The greasy coating also, this one also thick. The greasy coating mostly indicates dampness, phlegm, food retention, and you will see what these categories are: the dampness, the phlegm, the food retention. That's from the discussion in the previous video. We said that the fertilizer. So the greasy coating is the grasses grows too well, overgrow. A thin greasy coating or loose greasy coating often indicates food retention. Dampness. Greasy slippery coating, phlegm. So in this greasy coating, there's more water on top, more watery. Thick greasy coating indicates the internal organs, especially for the spleen, has been affected. Thick, sticky, greasy coating indicates the spleen and stomach function has been affected by the dampness. So these are the greasy coating. The first one is the greasy coating. You see here, it's moist. This greasy coating is dry. This one also dry, but you can see the tongue color is different. The tongue colors are different. This also can indicate different condition. Also, in the next few slides, we're going to talk about the color of the coating. The color of the coating, like the first one, is slightly yellow. The second one is white. The third one also white. That also indicates the different conditions of the tongue. A coated coating is rough and loose like residues of the bean curd. So you can see the coating, it can be thick. You can see something on top of the tongue, but this coating is easily to be scraped away. So this is the difference from the greasy coating. There's also a lot of coating, but you can grab away. The coated coating mostly due to the internal heat, excess yang heat. So peeled coating, there are different tones in the peeled coating. The peeled coating can occur in multiple areas of the tongue, known as scattered peeled coating. So in different areas, it's not like this one. This one is same in one area. This is only peeled coating. A mirror-like tongue, a tongue with the most severe peeled coating. So in this situation, actually there's no coating. Firstly, there's no coating. The second is there's moisture. So you can see it is shining on top of the tongue. No coating and shining, such as in this image. You see there's no coating but still shining. A geographic tongue is peeled coating with deviated margins and clear borders. So you will see the images in the next slides. A peeled-like coating refers to on smooth surface of the tongue in the coating peeled area. However, there are with presence of new granules of the papillae. So what does it mean here? The first one, so this one is a peeled coating. But for this peeled coating, you need to ask about it is from the from the brushes, they brush the tongue, or from the disease. The bottom image is a mirror-like coating. A mirror-like coating, we also sometimes says a mirror-like tongue, is no coating and shiny. A scattered peeled coating, as you can see here, there's no coating in different areas, so this we call the scattered peeled coating. A geographic tongue, or a geographic coating. This you also can see in multiple sites. It can be one site or multiple sites, mostly multiple sites, and it's not like in the previous slides, the coating from the middle, peeled from the middle. So you can see the boundary is in different shape of the boundary. But what's important from the geographic tongue and the scattered peel coating is the edge, boundary of the coating. You can see the boundary is very clear. You can see the clear boundary, and also you can see the coating is slightly higher than the tongue. When you compare with the first picture and the second picture, you will see from the no coating area to coating area, it goes through gradually, it develops gradually. But from the geographic coating, there's no coating, there's coating alleviated directly from the very clear boundary. So that's one we call geographic coating. The third one is an example of a peeled-like coating. What does it mean, a peeled-like coating? This area, there's also no coating. Here, less coating. So it is very similar to scattered peeled coating. But why this we call this peeled-like coating? That's because in these areas, as you can see this area, there's no coating and there's no coating. But these areas in the third picture, there's no coating, but when you see clearly and when you see carefully, you can see some whitish stuff here. Is whitish stuff. That's the film coating, the small granules. So this one we called peeled-like coating. From the lectures of the tongue inspection, what's important for you is you need to identify different images, different clinical manifestations. So the clinical indications, peeled coating indicates the stomach chi. So for this situation, you need to think about the peeled coating that there's no grasses in the garden. So you need to think about why your grasses don't grow in your garden. So from those four aspects, you can think about the sun, the water, the fertilizer, the soil. What's the soil's problem? If you don't have enough stomach chi, that's the soil. The soil is not good enough. Or stomach in, that's the water. Deficiency chi and blood, that's also the water. It also can be the fertilizer. So these are different aspects of the indications. Mirror-like tongue. There's no coating. There's no coating means there's no grass at all in your garden. It can be the erosion of the stomach in and loss of stomach chi. So the soil is not good. The soil is not good. There's no water as well. That's why you don't have any coating. So you can use this kind of thinking to help you to understand and to remember these indications. A coating with or without root. In other words, we also say true or false coating. This situation also not common in our clinics. This mostly happens in a more severe condition. A coating with root is firm, sticky, and cannot be scraped away. Or if you scrape the coating away, you can see the mark on the tongue still leaves some thin coating on the tongue. And a coating without roots is loose, floating, and easily to be scraped away. So when you scrape away, there's nothing leave on the tongue. So that's the difference between a coating with roots and without root. The coating with roots and without roots is very important for the prognosis. This is because from the coating we can see the four aspects: the stomach qi, the body fluid in the body, and also the yang qi in the body. So if there's no coating or false coating, it indicates the poor condition of these four aspects. So these are the observation of the coating, the property of the coating. And now we're going to introduce the colors of the coating. The colors of the coating, if you remember the colors, now is almost the third time we mentioned the color. If you remember the previous one, it will be much easier for you to understand this because the terms we use are exactly the same. With the white coating, that's coldness. With yellow coating, that's hot or heat. And sometimes these can appear with multiple colors. So firstly, the white coating. A white coating can be thin or thick. It can either thin white coating or thick white coating. So this coating, the image, is it a thin white coating or thick white coating? This can be considered as a thin coating but slightly thick. So if you want to use thin or thick, you can use thin coating on the sides, thick coating here. The reason is you can see through, you can see the tongue, but from here you hardly see any tongue. So the thin coating indicates the white coating indicates the cold symptoms. A thin white coating is normal. Okay. Again, we mentioned about the normal coating, light red tongue, thin white coating. Normal tongue should be even thinner than this. A thin white and moist coating is seen in healthy person. A dry, thin white coating indicates why it's dry because the lack of body fluids. When the heat can consume the body fluids. A thin white slippery coating. The slippery is watery. That's the dampness. Cold. A thin white greasy coating. Dampness or phlegm. A white thick greasy coating. Greasy and slippery coating. It's water, there's a phlegm. So dampness and phlegm. And white indicates cold. So when you see the tongue presents with white color, the coating with the white color, thick, greasy, slippery coating, it's coldness, dampness, and phlegm. Dry, white, thick, greasy. Dampness and phlegm, but dry. There's not that much body fluid. So that's the difference between different coatings. This tongue, a pale tongue with thick white coating at the back. Yellow coating. Yellow coating presents at the yellow color. It can be divided into pale yellow, deep yellow and burnt yellow. So this is just different tones to describe how the color, how deep the color is. A pale yellow coating transforms from thin white coating, a deep yellow coating from the yellow and thick, burnt yellow from the yellow and brown. So as you can see, they are connected, they are developed from one to the other and become worse and worse. Yellow coating in general indicates a heat signature. The deeper, the stronger the heat. So here are three images of the different colors. The pale yellow, slightly yellow, the yellow, and the burnt yellow. So here it can indicate the heat, how severe the heat is worse and worse. And also from this image, you also consider as greasy coating because it's shiny as well. So it's thick yellow greasy coating. This image, thick yellow greasy coating. Thick yellow and black coating. You also can say it is dry. Depends on what you see from there. A yellow greasy coating indicates damp heat. This yellow coating, this one also yellow. So slightly yellow, pale tone, also pale tone. When you see a pale tone with a yellow coating, the pale tone indicates the cold condition. The yellow coating indicates the heat condition. So there's a conflict here. When you see this kind of coating, you need to think about what's the cause. Firstly, what I will do, I will ask the patient, did they drink coffee or did they take any medicines that have colors? Because this color can be dyed. If the color is dyed, it indicates it's a false color. It can be white coating, but it is changed to yellow because of the food or the medicine. If they says no, then it is a true color. Then you also need to think about what's the cause from the opposite signs. A pale tone with a yellow coating. So that's something you need to think about. It's something you need to think about. It can be the exogenous heat from the exogenous pathogens, but the body constitution is cold. That's why it's pale. But now, all of a sudden, the patient suffers from exogenous heat. Then the patient may present temporarily with a yellow coating. So in this kind of tumors, we need to be careful that if we use herbal medicine or acupuncture to relieve the heat, we need to be careful to not over-treat. And also from this time, we also can see teeth mark. Right? So for the descriptions, you will go through by yourself. Gray and black coating can indicate the heat, severe heat or flame. This mostly happens in severe conditions. So these, if from pathological conditions, it is not common to see in our outpatient practice. For this kind of a coating, the black coating, you also need to ask to exclude the colors from the food. So these are most of the information that's in tongue inspection. From this session, you need to recognize the manifestations. So when you see this tongue, you need to identify what's the color, what's the shape, what's the coating color, what's the property of the coating, what's the what's the color of the coating, and as well as their indications. So that's the purpose of this session. And all these aspects, as you can see, when we study, we use quite a few periods, we use quite a few videos to introduce the one by one. We're going to inspect the tongue body, the coating. In the tongue body, we're going to inspect the color, the property, in the and the shape. In the coating, we're going to inspect the colors, the property of the coating, and all these aspects. It happens in a few seconds. That's why at the beginning of this session, in the general introduction, we said that we do not ask the patient to put their tongue out for a long time, because after a long time, the color may change, the property may change. So all these information we need to gather in a few seconds. That's all what you need to train in this session. You need to practice more. You need to see from your friends, from your families. You also can see from the images that we show you here. The more you see, the more accurate and the faster you will be. So that's the information from tongue inspection and why we need to study the tongue inspection. It can help us to identify the condition of the healthy qi and the pathogenic qi. It also can help us to differentiate the nature of the pathogens, such as the yellow coating or pale tongue. That can be the heat pathogen. It can help us to identify the location of the diseases, such as the ulcers in different areas of the tongue, on the tip of the tongue, and on the side of the tongue, can indicate different locations, such as the heart fire or the spleen or the liver fire. And also even ulcer happens on the side of the tongue of a pale tongue. This can indicate the spleen deficiency. But on the side, that's also the liver. Then you can think about the 5 elements. What's the relationship between the spleen and the liver? Why in a pale tongue, the mouth ulcer will happen on the side? To deduce the alleviation and deterioration of the diseases. So that's actually and also the last one, to estimate the prognosis of disease. From the tongue diagnosis, we can know about the development of diseases. It's become better or become worse. That's all what we need to study from the tongue inspection. When we inspect the tongue, there are also some aspects that need to be taken into consideration, especially if there's some conflicts in between, such as the patient presents as abnormal tongue body only, or abnormal coating only. So in a abnormal tongue with a thin white coating, or with a light red tongue with a different coating, abnormal coating. And also we need to think about the consistency between changes of the tongue body and coating. This is the example we discussed previously with a pale tongue with a yellow coating, or a red tongue with white coating. Are they matching? Inconsistency between the changes of the body and the tongue body and the coating. If a red tongue with a yellow coating, that's considered as consistency. A red tongue with a yellow coating, because a red tongue indicates a heat condition. A yellow coating also indicates a heat condition, so they're the same. But if a red tongue with a white coating, is the inconsistency. In this situation, we also need to think carefully what's the reason, what's the cause, and also we can combine with the other diagnostic method, such as the inquiry and the smelling and the pulse diagnosis in future when we studied. So when we study the inspection, don't only focus on the inspection. We also need to combine with the other diagnostic methods. These four diagnostic methods: observation, inquiry, inspection, observation, inquiry, listening and smelling, and palpation. We need to combine with these four diagnostic methods. These are all the information on tongue inspection. After studying this session, you need to be able to identify the clinical manifestations as well as explain the reason for these manifestations. So how to study tongue inspection, apart from the theories from our lecture notes and the textbooks, you need to practice. The more you practice, the better you will be. As you can see, all these inspections will happen in a few seconds. So that's all you need to train. You can observe from your friends, families, and also now because of the technology. If you see some very special manifestations, you can take a picture of them and keep as your future reference. So while you study, while you see patients, take pictures. If you see some special coating or special manifestations, keep as your reference. Thank you for your attention. In the next video, we're going to start a new session.